I would say the elements of the ecosystem are well evolved, but then all these elements, the jigsaw needs to come together and evolve into the full picture. Primarily, the cultural ecosystem in terms of accepting startups, in terms of accepting that a non-organized sector job or dabbling in innovation, entrepreneurship is worth a try, is affordable, is allowable. That has really set in. That is a major change as far as a conservative social fabric, a state which has a conservative social fabric like Kerala. The issue remains people who have ideas, sparks of ideas, need to test it out, test market it, strengthen that with technology, hone it with marketing skills, and make it into products and services. That's a fairly long process, and that also requires substantial exposure for the potential entrepreneurs, a mentoring system, and to some extent financing institutions and the framework. So the missing elements of the whole ecosystem, I would still feel, is this appropriate framework to provide sustained exposure and test and launch marketing efforts and learn from the mistakes and mentoring. These are three things which we would need to possibly focus on. How we can use the incubators, accelerators and systems outside that to achieve this is going to be the big challenge. I think we have most of the elements are in place, but then the question is about scaling it up. And while we scale up, we should ensure that all those gaps which we had identified, which are also plugged totally. So I think the policy of the government would have to get spelled out in due course. But I think main thought process which would go into such policy formulation would be two. One would be identifying the existing limitations and how to handle that. Two, how to scale up the existing operations into a slightly and a substantially large level. And while doing that, whether the gaps which are now felt, the systems which are suggesting to fill those gaps, will hold the test of meeting the challenges of addressing the demands of scaled up systems. That will be the challenge. We need to, when we are talking about scaling up the whole activities to an entirely different level, we need to see whatever systems which are trying to put in to address the existing gaps, whether those systems or those institutions or those frameworks will be adequate to meet the requirements of substantially scaled up level of operations. That we need to evolve, that we need to evaluate in great detail and then only put it in place. So hopefully we will have a very concrete set of action happening in the next few days, and it will be very exciting. That's what it is.